Hello, my friends. Welcome to the weekly energy show connecting you to your intuitive guidance system. It's Inklings with me, Irena. I'm so glad to have you. So today I want to talk about what happens when we're just feeling isolated or trapped, that feeling of being like a caged bird. And this can show up in a lot of different ways. Conversations have come up this week with my clients about just feeling really isolated and lonely, starving for that human contact, really just desiring so much to be able to see each other again face to face. Hello, Stephanie. So definitely give me a shout out, a little hello to let me know you stopped by. It's so much fun to know where you're watching from too. So share your part of the world with me. So much love to you guys because that isolated feeling, it's really starting to catch up with us. And where it's popping up, what I'm seeing are these big blocks, these big energetic blocks. People in my world, my client, I just had a call this morning where she was beating herself up because she's like, why do I care so much? Why do I care what other people think of me? Why am I changing what I say or trying to essentially make the other person happy at an energetic cost that really doesn't feel good, either because you're compromising who you are, even if it's a little bit like saying, oh yeah, I'm fine, or oh yes, I like that, when you really don't. It comes at an energetic cost. Yay, Stephanie, you're watching from California. Awesome. So, hey, by the way, if we haven't met, my name is Irena Miller. I'm an intuitive energy guide, and it is my joy to share these energy practices. For the last 20 plus years, I have been creating, gathering, honing this practice, and sharing it with women across the world. So it is my joy to bring this to you today. So I want to dive into what I mean by these big energy blocks, because if we break it down, I love these little acronyms because it's like stop, drop, and roll, helps us to remember it more easily. When you're feeling trapped or isolated, or you're just lacking that companionship, that connection, you're like, what is wrong? Why do I keep circling the drain? I want to give you a moment to think of big. What are these big things happening? These big energetic blocks, these big problems. And tune into the first part of that acronym, the B, beliefs. There are a lot of beliefs that can trap us. Like I had a wonderful yoga teacher. Oh my God, she was my inspiration. So I started studying yoga with her when I was about 18 years old, 17 or 18. It was like end of my high school years. And she was incredible to me and an inspiration. She was in her mid 50s at that point, I think. And she had studied sports psychology and just was an athlete. And in her mid 50s, she shared with us that she had never been able to do a handstand in the middle of the room because a teacher, once upon a time, she had studied in India with a very strict traditional system, and the system she studied in was definitely male dominated, and she was instructed to believe that women could not balance in the center of the room doing handstands. Now this was, a modern American woman, but that belief was inserted into her energetic field and it stuck. So for whatever reason, she kept dragging that belief around with her that there was no way she could balance in the center of the room in handstand. And P.S., she did, through much work and a great deep journey of inner work, discover that that belief was there, and she shifted it. And not only can she balance in the center of the room, but within our community, and the community, I mean international yoga community, she was known as the handstanding queen, and everybody went to her for that guidance on how do I do a handstand? How do I balance in the center of the room? She went through the process and the journey, but it was a belief that she had to get by at first. I was blown away by that at 17 or 18 years old, thinking, wow, a belief could have so much power over you that someone else put into your space. So if you're feeling trapped or isolated or lonely, I want you to take a moment to just watch and examine the beliefs that are circling through your head and your heart. Is there a belief that's moving around that's keeping you trapped? Like, oh, women can't do handstands in the middle of the room? Or, yes, we're under isolation and lockdown, but we have a wonderful imagination and there's playful ways to move within those boundaries. It's all about our perspective, the way that we're engaging and looking at it, our belief, like, are we really trapped, or is this an opportunity to experience life in a different way? So take that moment to examine the beliefs. The second part of the acronym, the ideas. So beliefs and ideas are very, very close, yes, but ideas have a little bit more fiery passion to them. The beliefs remind me of the thoughts. Like in the tarot deck, you have the swords that represent the mental realm, and the ideas are the wands, the fiery passion. That's kind of like what starts to propel the action. Our belief into action are those ideas. That's where our heart starts to get invested. So once you kind of examine those beliefs, those thoughts, move into the ideas. What ideas are circling around in your space that have kept you conforming? And when I say that, right, we're going to put this in relative context, because let me just kind of put in the little caveat that this has also been coming up a lot lately, because we're examining where we draw the line in the sand. You know, when we feel like we're being valued or not valued right now in the sun sign of Leo, and we're recognizing that there are certain places where maybe we don't belong because we haven't been valued, maybe in a job or a community, maybe where it's not working. But at the same time, when we say something to someone else, when we say, you know what, that idea does not resonate well with my soul, it doesn't sit well with my soul, something feels off about it. If we choose to say something, we can run it through the 4 gates of speech, which I love so much, that comes from the Buddhist traditions, which is it necessary to say this? Is this true? Is it kind? Is now the right timing? And if whatever has popped up within your heart, and I'm coughing to clear, if it's popped up in your heart and you can't say yes to all those 4 gates, it's not time to share that part or that aspect. You can share it in another way, or you just say, oh, it was lovely being with you. It was lovely carrying this idea around. You know, maybe it's trying to think and see if a particular idea comes to mind. It might be the idea that we have to live in one location. You know, maybe there was always that idea of, when I grow up, there's a cute Casey Musgraves song that I really love, and I can't remember the title of it, but in the song she talks about, you know, everybody expects that when you grow up, you know, at a certain age or by a certain age, you're going to have 2 or 3 kids, and life is going to look like this. But if you decide, I don't want to subscribe to that idea, conform to that, I'm going to change it because it doesn't resonate with who I am in this experience. Does that mean I have to go out and say, oh, that's a stupid idea? Or, oh, that's not for me? Maybe not, but you run it through those 4 gates of speech so that we're always coming from a place of compassion. Now, the final part of this acronym, the G, is really about the gratitude. There are ways when we're feeling trapped, when we're feeling isolated, if we can tune into the pieces of beauty around us, the treasures that we have, there's this tending to the treasures in our life, meaning the relationships we do have, even if it is across Zoom or, you know, Facebook Lives like this. I was like, what do you call this? I feel like I'm communicating this way with my friends and clients all day long in different mediums, but there are other ways to connect. Sending cards or care packages, reaching out in a way, like even when we go out to the stores or we're driving on the road, people are really, I don't know if you noticed this in your neck of the woods, but the driving here, especially when lockdown restrictions started to lift, everybody was just anxious and they were angry, and it was like they had to race to get somewhere on the road. And there was this feeling of, oh, I got to get there, or they're going to run out of this, or they're going to... And if you could simply be the one that shows up at the store or on the road, giving somebody a space, you know, like, oh, sure, go ahead, come on in front of me. Or, oh, okay, I understand. Just that they're anxious and upset, and you are kind of in that moment where you're grounded and you're calm and you're peaceful. When I first started going back to the grocery store, when the lockdown restrictions lifted and there was so much fear, I would say a beautiful mantra that comes from the Jivamukti tradition of the Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which is just that, you know, may all beings feel that blessing and that peace. everywhere. So there are ways that we can engage with gratitude for the blessings that we have in our life. There are ways that we can offer support to those around us that make all the difference. So when you are feeling that trapped, isolated feeling, I invite you to kind of break down this acronym of BIG, of, what beliefs are circling around in your head. What ideas have you conformed to that are out of date? And then finally, where have you been able to interject gratitude in your life? Just taking a moment. And one of my most favorite ways to do this, actually, almost forgot, was the I Love game, which I learned from a beloved teacher, Sonia Choquette. And she would say, all right, let's play the I Love game. You find a friend, and you could even do this with yourself, but it's so much more fun with a friend. And you just, I love bright pink petunias. I love trees. I actually love the sounds of the little bugs and insects. I love the sound of a cicada. I love seeing the birds flying, especially when I hear the owl hooting. Thank you, Mr. Owl. What do you love, especially about where you live? Let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for joining me, and so much love to you. I'm sending happy energy and vibes your way so that you can feel the connection and you know that you are loved. And if you're looking for a loving group and community, click the link above and continue the conversation with me. All right, I'll catch you all on the other side. Lots of love. Bye.